Honourable Senators, I'll proceed to propose the question that the Senate notes the report of the 14th Ordinary Session of the Plenary Assembly and related meetings of the Forum for Parliaments of the International Conference on the Great Lakes Region held in Livingstone, Zambia from 15th to the 19th of April 2024, laid on the table of the Senate on Thursday, 30th May 2024. The floor is open for debate. The Honourable Senator Mungatana.
Mr. Speaker, I want to thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to also air my views on this meeting that took place in Livingstone, Lusaka. Mr. Speaker, the theme of these meetings of members of parliament from the 12 countries of the Great Lakes was about climate change and climate adaptation. Mr. Speaker, the Great Lakes region, you know, some people, when they hear the names of these 12 countries, they wonder, how are we related with countries like Zambia? Mr. Speaker, if you look at the list of these people, of these member states, you have Angola, you have Burundi, you have Republic of Congo, DRC, you have Zambia, Uganda, and so on. Mr. Speaker, I had the fortune of serving as commissioner in the Commercial Competition Commission for 6 years. And I know when I go to Zambia, Mr. Speaker, this is an area where you feel so comfortable because they speak like us, their English intonation is like us, the way they dress is like us, and I even found Pokomo names in Zambia, Mr. Speaker. If you go down a bit down here to Malawi, you'll find a place called Salima. And in that city of Salima, it's the equivalent of their Malindi, of Kenya's Malindi. You find very good English, Swahili speakers there, and you feel totally at home. So, Mr. Speaker, the Great Lakes region, which surround all, we are all the same. And I'm very happy that Kenya was able to take a lead role in the discussions on climate change. Mr. Speaker, today, if it overrains just up here, outside our borders, the effects will come plummeting all the way to Kenya. They will go all the way down to the Great Lakes region, in fact, all the way down to Zambia, even Mozambique, because the climate that we are dealing with here in Africa and in the world does not know boundaries. The physical boundaries that we have created, Mr. Speaker, cannot, they're not boundaries for the climate change. And Mr. Speaker, it is real that temperatures have been rising. Rainfall patterns have changed. The amount of precipitation being received has continued to rise within the Great Lakes region. And it is good that members of parliament from this region met in Zambia, in Livingstone, to discuss what we are going to do as a nation, as a team from within the Great Lakes region. Mr. Speaker, I know many times when the Great Lakes region converges, people tend to go to peace and security discussions. But Mr. Speaker, climate change is real. And the problems our people are facing are because of climate effects. They are real. And we who are in positions of authority to represent our people, it is in fact a very good idea that we should continue to meet within the Great Lakes region to ask ourselves, what are we going to do with these rising temperatures, with these changing rainfall patterns, with the rise in precipitation, and the increase in the waters within the Great Lakes region? What are we going to do? What common joint strategies can we adopt so that our people are protected within these regions. And Mr. Speaker, I'm very happy because I have read this report and have seen one of the fundamental resolution that was made in this meeting is that the parliaments of the Great Lakes region, we must play our role. And one of the most important role is to create legislation that will help do climate change adaptation. And this legislation, Mr. Speaker, ought to be legislation that is uniform. Why I say this is that you will find, for example, Kenya has passed various legislation in the area of climate change and climate adaptation, even climate mitigation measures. But when you look at some of our area, member states, neighbors within the Great Lakes region, this has not been able to be achieved. So, Mr. Speaker, it was my hope, and I will still keep recommending this, that a model law be created for purposes of legislating on climate adaptation and climate change within the Great Lakes region, so that our parliaments, our various parliaments, when we go back home, we will have adapted a model law that can be brought and adapted into the Kenyan circumstances, into the Sudan circumstances, Tanzania circumstances, but we must have a law within this Great Lakes region so that we are able to say, this is what we planned to do as your leaders and your representatives in the House. The other thing, Mr. Speaker, that this conference resolved was that Parliament must play its role of oversight in this region. This region, Mr. Speaker, when disaster comes, a lot of materials and relief is sourced and brought around so that we can help our people. But Mr. Speaker, a lot of times our parliaments, including the Kenyan parliament, we are left out of the process of procurement. We are left out. In fact, we don't play any process. And we don't do this at the risk of a lot of our resources being wasted. And I'm saying it's not just in Kenya, but in the entire Great Lakes region. And I'm glad those who attended, they picked up this issue. The issue of oversight on resources is critical. And I say this because when we pass the budgets in our various parliaments, and when we pass the equitable share here in the Senate, and it is given to governors, the funds that we put for emergency, we don't have really an opportunity to oversight those funds. We are just told 1,000 bags of maize or 20,000 cooking oil jars were bought and stuff like that was done. And the emergency procurement laws were put in place because it was an emergency. Mr. Speaker, when they do emergency procurement, this is where people have been creating climate change millionaires. Because these people, Mr. Speaker, they tend to pick certain preferred individuals, and the procurement is done in such a way that the role of Parliament is reduced. The role of county assembly is reduced. And the executive gets a free hand. They say, oh, people are dying, so we need emergency procurement. That is where, Mr. Speaker, you will hear that a bag of maize is costing 5 times the cost that it would ordinarily have costed. So, Mr. Speaker, this resolution that we must find a way to oversight within the Great Lakes region, within Kenya and all this area, that we must find a way to oversight the resources that are allocated for climate change mitigation, climate change adaptation is a critical thing. And again, Mr. Speaker, I wished that the conference would have gone as much as to set up a committee to look at potential model laws that we could develop within the Great Lakes region. Why I say so is because you may find the oversight laws in Tanzania, the oversight laws in South Sudan may be very different from the oversight of Angola laws, the oversight that is in Zambia. And all these member states, Mr. Speaker, we have the same intention, but we don't have uniformed approach towards oversight of resources that are being placed at the disposal of our various executives to deal with climate mitigation measures. Mr. Speaker, this needs to be done like yesterday. And Mr. Speaker, moving to peace and security of this region, because all the time when we sit as Conference of Parliaments within this Great Lakes region, we cannot avoid to discuss the issues that are happening within our region. And the best we can do, Mr. Speaker, is to practice what we call parliamentary diplomacy. My prayer, Mr. Speaker, is that the Great Lakes region, members of Parliament, will promote more interaction within this region, more understanding within this region, so that then some of the members of the executive who are holding positions of power can realize that actually in Kenya you can be a president today, after your 2 terms, you are out and about and nobody disturbs you, that you will not be harmed by anyone. So if members of Parliament, members of the executive can increase visitations and normalize these political things, then a lot of the worries, a lot of the instabilities that are being caused may come to an end. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to take this opportunity as we debate this report on the Great Lakes region to appeal from this House of the Senate that it is our wish to see that the South Sudan political crisis right now is resolved in an amicable way. As a Senator of Kenya, it is very uncomfortable when we hear our Vice President has been held under restriction. It is our prayer that the political processes within the regional body, not only of the East African region, but even of the Great Lakes region, can participate in bringing out stability in the region. Same, I would say, for DRC. Mr. Speaker, I watched a very sad prayer session on video of children from the Congo Republic, not Congo Republic, but the Democratic Republic of Congo. Mr. Speaker, very young boys, very, very young children were speaking that Kikongo, the Bakongo Swahili, Bana Bakongo, and they are kind of Swahili, which in ordinary case, Kenyans like to find a lot of, jokes in it because of the kind of intonations, the way their language, they speak their Kiswahili. But this one was a very sad one because the young people were calling upon God. They were calling upon the Holy Spirit. And they were calling upon their leaders to please God intervene in the hearts of these leaders that we may not die. And they were just young children. And they were praying and they were recorded there. And I was really moved. I thought sometimes people involved directly in the conflict, like the soldiers, like the political players, like those who support these people, they forget that there are other victims to these conflicts, including the children. That was a very, very apt presentation of what children go through. Mr. Speaker, I also wanted to use the floor of this Senate to appeal to all the players in this DRC conflict to find a way to see it through the eyes of those children that they need peace like yesterday. Mr. Speaker, it will be a very sad occasion if the Great Lakes region, the East African community, fail to find an amicable solution to the problems that are affecting the Republic of Congo. Finally, Mr. Speaker, as I see it, we must continue to make all effort to assist climate resilience plans, to support what is being done in terms of climate mitigation, because these things, Mr. Speaker, are real. Looking at my county in Tana River, Mr. Speaker, for example, now, as I see it, I'm looking at the news that were running the other day, and we saw that Kirinyaga, which is up on the River Tana coast, it is sinking with a lot of flooding because there's been high precipitation, high rainfall in that area. Our people down the Tana are very worried right now that if the areas of the mountains have too much rain, what is happening is that people down there, they start packing their things. They start moving from the lower grounds. And nobody compensates these people, Mr. Speaker. Nobody plans for our populations, how they will move, where they will eat. Because as we are talking now, Mr. Speaker, the river is flooding. And the national government, the county government, they don't seem to have answers for our people. So when we talk about even planning for climate mitigation, where is the national government? Where is the county government? Mr. Speaker, we can see that Kirinyaga was flooding because of the rainfall. This water is all coming down all the way to the Tana River County. What are the plans? You don't see the governor talking about this. You don't see the minister in charge of agriculture in our county speaking about this. You don't see any plans. You are just waiting, and then people, as it always happens, you are sleeping in the night, and then all of a sudden, you start seeing things floating within your room, and then you realize the river has broken its banks. Mr. Speaker, I pray that even our local administration will do what has been agreed in this international forum. This international forum has said we must always prepare adequately because of climate change. I pray that our local administration, our county government will wake up to its responsibilities. Let's not wait for the river to destroy lives, property, and stuff belonging to people for you to move them out. Let us start dealing with the problems early enough. This is part of what the Senate was learning during this trip that was led to Zambia at the International Forum of the Great Lakes region by our team that went there. Mr. Speaker, with those many remarks, I want to say thank you, and I support this report. Thank you very much.
Senator Olekina.